I start thinking like on Wednesday of what I'm going to chat with you about, and as we make it through each week on WPKN, it's always interesting to look back at the stories that we covered. But it looks like no one can accuse the Newtown Bee or WPKN News of taking tick-borne diseases lightly.
No,
And
that's true.
we've been talking about this really since the weather started to get nicer. And here we are. I started hearing rumblings of this new tick-borne disease a couple of weeks ago, and now I'm reading about it in the pages of the Bee. Nancy, what is this latest tick-borne disease? Powassan? Am I saying that right?
As far as I know, that's how it's pronounced. Yes, this is another one of those tick-borne illnesses that can really lay people low. So this week's article emphasizes the fact that our senators are hoping to get more funding to do more research and to combat not just this new tick-borne disease, but all of the tick-borne diseases, because as you know from previous articles in the Newtown Bee, this year looks to be a little bit rampant so far as the number of ticks that are out there, the different varieties of ticks that are out there, and the different diseases that they can bear. So you cannot be too cautious this spring. If you find a tick on you, you have to carefully remove it. And our health district director does suggest that you bring it to them and have it looked at to see if it is carrying anything. You might want to contact your own physician and just say, hey, I've been bitten by a tick. Should I be taking something, preventively, or should we wait and see if any symptoms occur? Every doctor, I think, has a little bit different take on that, though I believe in Connecticut, most of them tend to lean towards being very cautious. But, please, use safe insecticides around your ankles when you go out into the gardening and into the woods, long pants, long sleeved shirts whenever you can. And when you're outside, after you come in, you must do a tick check. Some of the ticks, the deer ticks, as you know, are extremely small. So you have to really be conscientious this year, especially. You don't want to get sick with one of these tick diseases that can take a couple of weeks to show up and really make you feel not well.
I've become like an expert on this. And what's crazy is that when people come visit us, they head home, and I got a call, someone who had parked kind of where the grass is a little higher in our yard. And they said they had only been outside, Nancy, to go from the car to inside the house, and they found a tick on their pants. And I've been bit, I can't tell you how many times, unfortunately, doing yard work. And you are right. My doctors here in Newtown have taken the more aggressive route of putting me on a doxycycline. It's not fun. So all the advice that you're giving is good. Whose article is it this week?
This is an article from John Vocat.
Okay. All right.
He is currently our health editor.
Okay.
I think
I rely on him, that's for sure.
Well, you'll be relying on John a lot more in coming days, as will readers of the Newtown Bee. As we announced in the editorial this week, John Vocat is going to be the next editor of the Newtown Bee with my retirement on July 1st.
Now, as a reporter, it's been difficult for me to keep this one under wraps, but I wanted to tell you that we've really enjoyed speaking with you week in and week out here. When I called you around the holidays to suggest this partnership and this synergy, I had wanted to do more local news on the air. And I know that some of the more faceless, papers from the state capitol, it's not possible to have this type of interaction. And you were happy to do it. And I think our news coverage has been better for it. So thank you. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but think, I don't know when our last conversation will be, but think about maybe some stories over your tenure. I can only imagine what you could tell us about. I know that you have made a point of saying that everyone here in Newtown has had a story. So I'm going to ask you to come up with maybe one or two that you want to tell us about before we part ways.
Wow. Wow. Put me on the
Not
spot.
now, not now.
Okay. Not now. Oh, good.
Check in another time. But I can only imagine with your tenure there, you've met some people who've left a lasting impression.
That is true. People and places.
So let's move on though. So the announcement was made. John's going to take over I'm assuming added responsibilities, or will someone new pick up John's responsibility?
There will be some changes in the distribution of town coverage because, being the editor is a little bit time consuming in a lot of different ways. And, John is prepared to take that on. And but, duties will have to be redistributed somewhat in order to get the kind of coverage that people expect from Newtown Bee. The publisher, Scudder Smith, has expressed confidence that John is going to be that kind of leader that the Newtown Bee has relied on over the years. And, as I say in my editorial, this, changes at the Newtown Bee are something that's been happening to this paper for over 140 years, and we move forward with the changes as needed. So I know that the readers of the Newtown Bee can continue to look forward to the kind of community news that they've expected all these years. Can I throw in a couple other retirements that are happening?
Sure, yes.
All right, so this week, people are going to be reading about longtime news reporter Andy Garosco, who has retired from the Newtown Bee after more than 30 years of service to the Bee publications. Andy was our police reporter, our safety reporter, our land use reporter. Readers of the Newtown Bee know Andy for his precise and technical and very accurate reporting of some of the town meetings and things that go on in town that might not seem that exciting, but are very important for readers to know about, for residents to know about in town. So we are sad to say goodbye to Andy Garosco, but we wish him only the very best because he is just an amazing person. Now, we have one.
Oh, there's another. Okay.
But yeah, there is one more retirement, and this one not at the Newtown Bee, but last Friday, the public was invited to the C.H. Booth Library for a little celebration for the retirement that happened last year during COVID of Beryl Harrison. And anybody who has been a longtime patron of the C.H. Booth Library has come across Beryl in their years, and she is just a dynamo and continues to be. It was wonderful to see so many members of the public come out to fet her last Friday.
And things are back to normal at the library. It's
things are pretty much back to
normal. What are the rules
for
the library these days?
Anybody can go to the library these days. They are still asking people to please wear a mask on the library grounds and in the library when they come in, because they have a vast population that comes in of all ages and people who have all kinds of perhaps compromised immune systems. And just to be on the safe side and considerate of everybody, it's just easiest to say, hey, those masks that you've invested in, pop one on when you come in.
Yeah. I reached out on social media to Eliza to say, hey, great job. She's been awfully busy with graduations. And what I thought was really neat, Nancy, was seeing the parents thanking her for what she does.
Yes, we are blessed at the Newtown Bee to have Eliza Hallebeck as the education reporter. I don't think that there has been one so dedicated in a very long time. This week, there is an amazing 2-page spread of Newtown High School graduation photos that people will find only in print. And I have to tell you, I don't know any of the kids personally who are graduating this year, but just looking at those photos made me so happy. Everybody just is full of smiles. And as Eliza pointed out, hey, you can see their faces this year.
Yeah. Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
I think I told you we've been to the pool. It's in fine form and running efficiently.
Yep.
The town is ready for summer.
The town is ready for summer. There's lots of day camps that you can register for through Parks and Recreation at Treadwell and at Dickinson. And as you said, the Treadwell Pool is open to the public. Eigler's Cove is open to the public. And this year, there are no reservations needed at Treadwell Pool as there were last year. They just ask people to please, be in your swimwear when you come, no changing in the locker room. Easy in, easy out sort of thing, and just have fun. There's, I might add too that Parks and Rec also has their carnival returning to Fairfield Hills starting on Thursday evening, the 24th.
Oh, I didn't know
That
that.
runs through Sunday.
Oh, that's great.
Gatherings are happening again in town, and it's just wonderful.
Yeah. And the reaction from my neighbors, people are eager to get back to doing stuff, as they say.
Yeah, we do have to be respectful still of those people, as I mentioned, like the library is, who may not be able to be vaccinated. And please don't be judgy if you see somebody wearing a mask in any of the buildings where it's now optional, because there's a lot of reasons why people do. And it doesn't necessarily even mean that people are not vaccinated who are wearing those masks. It might just be that they are aware of situation where they just want to make sure that the people around them are safe.
Nancy, before we move on from COVID, is any numbers, anything else that we should need to know about?
We are not doing our weekly update in the newspaper anymore because thankfully things have been so quiet. You have 0 or less people being hospitalized. You have very, very few people testing positive. Our positivity rate is very, very low, and we are so grateful. A lot of that, of course, can be contributed to the fact that so many people have been vaccinated.
That's
so
great.
We just hope that those who have not made time yet to get vaccinated won't feel like, it's, they don't have to bother now, because the more people who are vaccinated against this, the better everybody will be.
A lot going on up in the state's capital, a lot going on at Hartford. What, any of it, important to your readers?
Everything that goes on at the Capitol is important to our readers. We do cover some of the state events, and certainly our Senator Tony Huang and our local representatives are good about getting news to us about what goes on. This week we have a fairly large article about reflections from our legislators on what did and did not occur and how they felt about it this past year's session. And we also have an interesting little article, specifically Senator Huang and Representative Mitch Belinsky, neither were very happy with the special session that took place earlier this week. They both said there was a great amount of content in an implementation bill, and there was not time to digest it or to properly address it. They're not very happy about this. An implementer bill allows the revival and passage of certain elements of certain bills that failed in the regular session, or maybe were never proposed during the regular session. These two these two lawmakers just felt there was a lack of consultation and lack of public hearings. They didn't feel it was very representative for this implementation bill to have passed, and they've expressed their displeasure, shall we say.
Anything, any thoughts, any coverage on the legalization of recreational marijuana? That seems to be the biggest story coming out of Hartford.
That is a big story coming out of Hartford, and we have not yet addressed that this week. That's something that's, we don't have even a retail operation here in Newtown. So it's a little bit outside of what we normally cover, but we certainly will be talking about it in future issues, I'm sure, because it does affect people with the recreational bill.
And what I think confuses a lot of people is the proliferation of the CBD products that are at everything from gas stations to health food stores. I think that's really confused a lot of people. I was disappointed to see so many retailers were caught in a sting operation with vape products. I read about that in the Bee. That's still happening.
Right.
Underage sale to underage folks.
Yeah. You know, 4 places in town were part of those that were part of that sting that did not pass, shall we say, selling to people who were underage. And I think I would rather focus on the positive in the fact that I believe there's something like 16 that were tested. And so, many, many more actually passed, actually checked IDs.
Did check for ID.
Right.
Okay.
And that's, I think that's something that the stores that were caught in this, I think that what they'll be emphasizing is better training for their people who are doing the selling behind the desk. Because it's hard when you have people come in who look older than they are, and you're in a hurry and they're buying other things. And, I think that's what happens with some of them.
And it is funny. Listen, when you're a local news reporter, one of these places and one of these gentlemen is that I buy my lotto every day from them.
Yeah.
Local is local,
Yeah, it's, it is. It's, I think when times get really busy, some of these things become an oversight. And I'm sure that these stores are going to be emphasizing to their employees, be sure you check. I mean, honestly, I actually have had my ID checked for buying,
of course,
for buying things like NyQuil.
I think spray paint I had to show ID recently at Aubuchon.
At my age, I'm kind of flattered.
Amen. Anything you want to add? And do we get another week with you, or are we going to have a special session?
No, I will be here next Friday.
Okay.
And John or somebody that he assigns to this will be chatting with you on the Fridays going forward.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to, not looking forward to our last one, but I will be here.
Yes, and think about that. Have some stories for us over your tenure.
Yeah, I'll try. There's so many. That's going to be a challenge. I do want to offer some congratulations so quickly to the girls track relay team who are champions, and as well as the young men from Newtown who are on St. Joseph High School's lacrosse team, which took the state title. So, our sports, our athletes in town are awesome.
Nancy, have a great weekend. Happy Father's Day, obviously, to whoever is celebrating, and
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I was fishing. I was. All right, Nancy, thank you.
All right, thanks.